Batman the Telltale series is truly underrated in 2024. Like, I swear I see no one ever talking about this game ever, even up till recent years. It's one of the only Batman games and pieces of media where we actually see more of in-depth of Bruce Wayne and Batman as two separate characters. It presents an entirely original storyline in which it takes on classic characters such as Two-Face and Lady Arkham, which I really never heard up until this point and I thought was created for the game, but apparently she's been around for a long time. Like most Telltale games, it's heavily driven by the player's choices, and the game adapts to the choices you make, which heavily entails on how you play and what the outcome is at the end. I gotta say, this is probably one of the best portrayals of Batman we've had since the Arkham games. The way he just stalks his prey, of course, like the Batman we've seen in multiple other types of media. But I think Troy Baker does an incredible job as Batman. He does an incredible Joker, so it's no surprise why he's so good at this role yet again. I mean, this is probably, I think, a few times he's played Batman at this point, including in the LEGO games, and I think this is by far his best portrayal of the character. He's always managed to get Batman so perfectly right. The opening sequence of the first Telltale season has got to be one of the best. It definitely shows off how dark and brooding this Batman is, and shows his best characteristic traits. This whole sequence of course shows off his iconic gadgets and of course the Batarangs, which are pretty fucking brutal in this game. Bruce Wayne definitely plays a major role in this series. He does a lot of things that definitely dedicate towards the plot. And whoa, not that kind of plot, Jesus Christ. Bruce Wayne does play a big part in this game, and I actually like that, as most Batman games nowadays don't even pay attention to Bruce Wayne. Yes, you play as him for a little bit in other games, but he's rarely ever glossed upon at all. And that's really what makes the Telltale series so special. In Season 1 you mainly meet around Vicky Vale, who turns out to be the Lady of Arkham, Harvey Dent, who eventually turns into Two-Face, the Penguin aka Cobblepot, of who of course becomes, well, the Penguin, and of course after that we get to John Doe, who eventually in Season 2 will become the Joker if you decide to choose him to be, or he becomes a vigilante, which I found is something that's never been done before, which only Telltale could really do in that aspect. Now you could argue Arkham Batman is very sadistic with how he interrogates criminals, but Telltale Batman takes that to a whole new level. Telltale Batman is pretty much straight up known to fucking full on injure his criminals, such as breaking a few of their fingers, crutching their fucking ribs in with a metal pole, which is insane, and flat out impaling Batarangs into people's backs, which just looks insanely painful. His detective skills are vastly explored throughout the Telltale series as you clear up multiple crimes with the whole point and click gameplay, and it's actually incredibly fun at sometimes, especially even with the Riddler stuff in the Season 2, you're still able to work your way around the place. Batman's relationships with the people around him is vastly different to how he reacts with them when he's Bruce Wayne. Harvey Dent being an impactful friend to Bruce Wayne, eventually becoming Two-Face and flat out hating him for not actually stepping in when he did when he eventually got burned by Penguin. Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle's relationship is vastly on and off. They're obviously fighting as Batman and Catwoman, but are a lot more nurtured together when they're back to Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. At the end they discover they're entirely different people and decide to cut things off completely. But when it comes to the Telltale series, I think Alfred's relationship with Bruce Wayne and Batman is the most impactful. You can tell Alfred cares a lot for Bruce, especially having to bring him up after his parents' death, and it definitely comes across to the end when eventually Alfred gets an eye patch from Vicky Vale's demise, and of course Bruce Wayne sees a lot more in Alfred and treats him more like a father at the end. The last scene of Season 2 even gives you the option of asking Alfred to leave or continue being Batman, but of course I had to give up being Batman and had Alfred stay, because like, who doesn't love Alfred? Bruce and John Doe's relationship is very tame. He of course starts out as a prisoner trying to help Bruce and guiding his way through the asylum, of course in Season 2 becoming the vigilante, or of course villainous Joker. John Doe's story is truly what makes a person evil. He's heavily torn down by society and feels betrayed by Bruce for not believing in him, which of course in one path leads him to become the Joker. This universe's Joker is a lot different compared to other iterations of the character. For example, his skin is already bleached and only takes him to the second game to become insane, instead of the OG storyline where he gets dropped in the vat of acid and of course becomes insane from the get-go. There's also a path where he becomes a vigilante, which is a decent path. I never actually remember playing this path, but of course is something you can take. But of course I had to go down the villain route, as I've always seen Joker as more of a villain than a hero. Multiple other villains make an appearance in the second season, such as Harley Quinn and Bane. These guys are more supporting characters as opposed to being more main characters in other types of Batman media, but mainly focused on the Joker throughout the whole season. In the first episode of Season 2, we're actually introduced to the Riddler, and of course, if you played Arkham, you know exactly how fucking annoying the Riddler is. This is one part of the second season I'd rather have they kept in, because he literally dies at the end of the episode 1, and I would have rather seen him more in other episodes, such as maybe episode 3 or 4, but yeah, they just kill him off right at the start, as if he's kind of like the filler villain for the Joker at the end. So yeah, I mean, I really want to see more of Riddler. He just really was kind of just not overdone in this game at all. Yeah, I think he definitely deserves a more spotlight in other games, but of course, this is probably never going to happen, as the character has been killed off in this universe. It's very similar to Lady Arkham in Season 1. We saw a lot throughout the seasons and all 5 episodes, but by the end of the finale we managed to get the full sauce of what this character was actually about. And of course, Lady Arkham turned out to be Vicky Vale, a very close friend of Bruce Wayne and the reporter that was stalking him throughout the whole season, and of course someone that Batman was complete enemies with. So honestly, the whole twist in that game really just propelled this story forward. And no matter whatever ending you get, you're always going to be able to go back and have the replayability feature and just always get a different ending every time. And you're always going to experience the game from 2 different sides. The great thing about Telltale games is that they always have different endings no matter what choices you go through, and there's always multiple choices and hundreds of thousands of different ways of how your outcome can be. A great example of this is how you can actually approach certain situations as either Bruce Wayne or intimidate them as Batman. This is something that no other DC game has ever actually tried to do, and it's certainly something the Arkham games haven't came close to doing either, whereas mainly it's just Batman focused, but we actually have a Bruce Wayne scenario in this game. Having situations like this in this game actually make the game more replayable and more enjoyable to its audience. Gotham always looks like it has a life of its own in this game. The city feels lived in, it feels like crime is happening absolutely everywhere you look. Gotham City certainly aligns itself with some of the themes in this game as well. The bottom half of Gotham City looks run down and rugged, whereas the top half of Gotham City feels more of like the lived in and feels like mob bosses are residents in every single direction. With Wayne Tower being one of the tallest buildings, it shows how great and powerful Bruce Wayne actually is. The city also aligns itself with the ongoing campaign of making Harvey Dent as mayor in the game. And when shit really starts to hit the fan, you can really see how Harvey's transitions into Two-Face and the world really going to shit afterwards. It really just shows how much depth Gotham truly has in this game. Bruce Wayne's iconic origin is thoroughly explored throughout the first season. We see Bruce still trying to come to terms with his parents' death, as well as his rivalry and friendship with, of course, Cobblepot, who were friends till childhood. This relationship turns into a betrayal as Cobblepot tries to take down Wayne Enterprises and gain it for himself. And this really starts up the rivalry between Batman and Penguin in this season. This is probably why Bruce is so careful of who he lets into his life and only really trusts Alfred as the one to help him out. The relationships in these games are always diverse, as you may not know what's going to happen, who's going to turn on who, but I think that's really the excitement of both of these seasons in itself. The thing I love about the Telltale series is that it expands upon Batman and Bruce Wayne's stories as a whole. It tells a completely original story and originates its characters to completely differentiate them from their occasional parts in the comics. One of the issues that I think these games do suffer from is the quick time events, and as most people have played a lot of video games, people do not like quick time events. They're needy, and of course they just come across as just very repetitive after a while. And if you fail these quick time events and you don't press it in time, you of course fail. But that's really only the smallest nitpick I can really have with these games. They're all incredible in their own way. With Telltale adding their own twist into this universe, we actually got one of the best takes of Batman in my opinion. If you had to rival this series with Arkham, of course Arkham will always win, because nothing will ever beat the Batman Arkham series. But I respect Telltale and what they were able to do with the character of Batman and Bruce Wayne in this whole franchise. Whether that's focusing on storyline, combat, or even his detective skills, Telltale Batman will always go down as a great. So without further ado, let me know what you guys think of the Batman Telltale series, and what is your favourite season if you've played it. Is it Season 1 or Season 2? And I'd love to see your guys' thoughts in this whole franchise, because honestly, if Arkham had a rivalry, I think Telltale is only the fairest rivalry we can have to the Arkham series at this point, as we have not really had anything else other than besides Kill the Squad, Kill the Justice League, and some not very good Batman games. And also let me know who you prefer playing Batman in these games. Mostly it's always going to be for me, Kevin Conroy. I mean, nothing will ever change that. But let me know if you like Troy Baker. I think Troy Baker plays an incredible Bruce Wayne, and he also plays an incredible Batman. But let me know down in the comments down below. Without further ado, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.